Welcome, all my fellow Washington brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Washington football team fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Washington Football Report Training Camp Confidential. No practice today for the Burgundy and Gold, but there was a big practice yesterday. Last night, Washington welcomed back its fans for the first time to FedEx Field since 2019. Think about that for a second. Let that kind of resonate. Now, I don't think they would have showed up last year anyway. So it was kind of good. And I said that all last year. It was actually a blessing to give Ron a year to kind of show what he was trying to instill and allow him to change the culture and give fans a reason to be hopeful to then show up. That happened. They actually got lucky, won the division. And so here we are talking about this football team and a totally different environment. Now, I wasn't at the practice last night. It was open to the fans. And I saw a live video from my guy Sanchez. And there were several other viewers that said they were going to be in attendance. So I'm very, very anxious to know what exactly was the environment like. I don't want to just know like how practice went. That's obviously the most important thing. You know, what did you see? Who impressed you? All of those things. But also, I also want to know, how did the stadium look? They've changed a lot since the last time, any of us have been there. They've scraped all of the Redskin, visuals down. They've put up all that Washington football team stuff. They've changed a lot within the stadium and around it. So what does it look like inside? What was the feeling? Now, again, the stadium was probably a third full. It wasn't a packed house. But I imagine that there was a vibe that you got, maybe a feeling of, man, this feels good, So what was that like? And then obviously the biggest thing, what did the players on the field look like? So I'd love to hear from any of you out there that attended the practice. What do you thought? What did you make of practice itself? Anything that you may have seen that may have caught your eye? Obviously, we're getting updates, and if you really wanted to watch it, they had this Washington football, live viewing on, I think, either the team's website or Facebook or whatever, that you could have watched it. We were getting updates like we usually do during practice from all of the beat writers that were there in attendance. And so, we know about the Terry McLaurin deep ball from Ryan Fitzpatrick just over the outstretched arms of Kendall Fuller. We know about Montez Sweat destroying the rookie Sam Cosmi in a one-on-one drill. Like, we know about these things. We heard about the interception that Juice got, where there was a miscommunication. We heard about all of those things. But, I want to hear about the things that we didn't hear about, some of the plays that happened that weren't reported. And, some of the players that you were able to take a look at that you're like, hey, I didn't think this guy was this big, or I didn't think he was this fast, or this, that, and the third. William Bradley King continues to make an impact when he's getting reps. What did you think about him, or Shaka Toney, or, John Bates, or some of these other young guys that, a lot hasn't been said about them during camp, and this was your first time to lay eyes on them. What did you see at practice? I'd love to hear from you guys out there. So what I'm going to do, and I'm not really good at this stuff. I've never done this before, so bear with me. And I got a major announcement that I'll give you guys here in about 20 minutes or so. I don't want to be up here long. I normally don't work on weekends, so this isn't going to be one of these 2-3 hour marathon streams. This might be 45 minutes to an hour max, and we'll get in, we'll get out, and we'll keep it pushing. We did hear from Ron. I do want to talk about what Ron had to say. He talked about this guy, Torrey McTyer, which is a cornerback that's apparently been making plays throughout camp and has drawn some attention by the beat reporters have talked about this guy. Ron was asked about him. Ron said, yeah, he's caught our attention. We're curious. We want to see what this guy does when we get into these preseason games. He'll get some reps because he's earned them. This is a guy, a 4-year veteran in the NFL, spent last year with the Cincinnati Bengals. The 2 years previous to that, he was with the Miami Dolphins. So it's not like this guy is a rookie or an undrafted guy or something like that. He's been in the league. He's bounced around. Doesn't mean he can't play. He's 5'11", about $190. We'll see what this guy does when he gets some opportunities. That's going to be a tough room to crack. However, we've talked about the cornerback position and all those veterans and some of the young guys that they've brought in. Obviously, Benjamin St-Juste is going to make this team. Kendall Fuller is going to make this team. But, after that, there is some opportunity in there, So William Jackson III, Kendall Fuller, Juice, all locks. I think they're going to keep 5 corners. I think that Jimmy Moreland is going to probably make this football team. But after that, who knows what's going to happen? Danny Johnson is a guy that I continue to talk about as a guy that they really like. They like his versatility, all the different things he's able to provide for them, including in a pinch being able to go back there and provide them some special teams value. But again, if you can get a guy that can also, play special teams, cover up kicks and things of that nature, and play the cornerback position, that's going to be a guy that interests them as well. So don't dismiss Torrey McTyer, but Ron talked about that. He talked about the growth of De'Ami Brown and how he's continuing to develop, and he's doing some good things throughout camp. Talked about a number of things, but the most important takeaway was his desire for the fans to back this team and how he wants them to come out. And he said, look, right now the fan base is curious. And I thought it was the perfect way to describe what this fan base is right now. We're curious. A lot of us, we want to believe, but we've been hurt too many times. We've been shot as many times as we've wanted to believe and pour in all of our support. We've been stabbed in the back by this organization so many times that we've lost count. And so you're a little bit hesitant to go all in. You want to take this wait and see approach just to make sure that if you dive into this pool of Ron Rivera and this new wave of what's being done with this organization, that you don't get electrocuted and somebody doesn't throw an electrical device into the water and you get electrocuted. You kind of want to wait to make sure that it's safe to go in and nothing's going to happen. And I think he's right. There is a level of curiosity here that is amazing, but it's also intriguing to say the least, because I think there are a lot of fans that want to come back, but, whether it be the name or they think that, Rivera is going to be just like, what's different than him, Shanahan and Gruden and all the guys that came before him. What's going to be different this time? Dan's still the owner. So what's going to be different? So there are a lot of people that are taking a wait and see approach. He's like, look, we need you guys. We want to give you a reason on the field to believe, but we need you guys to come out and support us and make FedEx Field a true home field advantage, because it hasn't been a real home field advantage since 2012. Let's keep it a buck. I mean, you could argue 2015. with you like that and the playoff run that year and the home playoff game against the Green Bay Packers, you could argue 15 had, its moments where it was a true home field advantage. But honestly, I haven't felt the energy through my television set at FedEx since 2012. That was the last year where I actually said I got goosebumps watching games at home on television. You could feel the energy resonating through the television. I haven't felt that way since 2012. So if they want to get back to that, they're going to have to give, the fans a reason to show up and make noise and not sell their season tickets to fans of other teams, and actually show up to the games themselves and make noise and try to help this team win ball games and provide them with that spark that has been missing at FedEx Field for a very long time. So he talked about all of those things. And I think he even made a little bit of a statement after that practice about, how it was so good to have the fans back, but he also wants them to come out and we need their support. So it was a lot of interesting things to take away from Ron's presser, but that to me was the absolute biggest. Virginia Slim, wrote a comment here. How did the field look? That's another thing. Obviously, the field turf at FedEx has been a disaster for years. So there's brand new turf. That was the first time that it was kind of, revealed to everyone, to the masses, to the players. This was their first time on that field turf. So what did that look like? So there were so many things that I would love to hear from you guys about. So if you're out there, please make sure either you use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. You can super chat, or I'm going to do something. I think I'm going to do something. I'm not sure if this is how this works, but I just put the link to the stream in the chat. If you want to come on live and chop it up with me, feel free to do so. Now, look, if you've got a bunch of noise, if you got a lot going on, do not try and get into this stream. I will, and I'm just telling you right now, I'm going to give you a heads up. I will drop your ass in a hurry, okay? But if you're in a controlled environment, we can hear you, we can see you. I don't want any prison, or I don't want any hostage videos. If you're somewhere where you can actually be audible and we can see you and you don't mind being live, you're more than welcome to come into this stream and hit me up. So I think that's how that works. Don't kill me. You know, I don't do these things very often. So if you are comfortable coming on, chopping it up, hit me up. Let me know. So with that said, I want to talk about a couple of items to give you guys an opportunity to, come on the stream if you are comfortable doing that, or to use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. If not, then we'll get through a few items and we'll get out of here. I won't hold you up on a weekend. You know how I am about my weekend. So, and I respect your weekend as well. So if you don't have a lot to say, we'll get out of here. We won't keep this thing going, but as long as we need to. So I got an announcement. So there was a very generous fan out there. He won't allow me to tell you his name. I would really like to tell you guys, his name, so you can give him all the credit. I don't deserve any of this credit because this wasn't my doing. But there was a viewer out there that was gracious enough to donate a couple of tickets to 2 different games in the preseason. So 2 tickets for the preseason game against I forgot who's the second preseason game. I can look it up right now though, real quick. The second preseason game is against Cincinnati. That's at home on a Friday. And then the Baltimore Ravens in week 3. That's a home game as well. So there are 2 tickets to each of those games. And so I'm not going to go. He donated them to me, and he said, you can do whatever you want with them. And so I'm going to give them away to one of you guys out there. So I'm going to have a video tomorrow, or excuse me, Monday, giving you all of the details that you need to get your hands on these tickets. So stay tuned for that. I'll give you all the details, all the specifics, all the things that you need to have done. And then I'll give you guys the actual day when I'll be giving these tickets away. So if you're interested, going to these preseason games, there was someone generous enough, kind enough to donate 4 tickets, 2 to each preseason game at home for the Washington football team, 2 for the game on the 20th versus Cincinnati, and then 2 more additional tickets for the Saturday, 3rd and final preseason game versus the Baltimore Ravens. So if you guys are interested, and they're really good tickets too. So if you're interested, let me know. And, if you're interested, stay tuned and make sure that you tune in on Monday so that you can check off all of the different things that you need to have in order to be eligible to win those tickets. So with that said, we've gone over what Ron had to say. Like I said, I got a couple of tidbits from practice, nothing major from practice, for me at least. there was the deep ball to Terry that, everybody was ranting and raving about. There was the Samuel Cosme one-on-one against Montez Sweat that was not pretty for Samuel Cosme. And I told you, he'll have his days where he'll be up and he'll be down, and that's fine. So these things are going to happen. He's going to continue to get better because of these battle scars that he's going to endure during camp versus Chase Young and Montez Sweat. But let me just continue to reiterate this. They want him to start week 1, and I think he is on a crash course to do exactly that. Now, these preseason games will tell the story. If he can hold his own in these preseason games, he'll give up some pressures, maybe a sack or two. That's to be expected. But for the most part, if he's doing a bang-up job, Samuel Cosme will be the starter at right tackle come week 1. If he is just horrendous and he is really impacting this offense and they're not getting a chance to get into their stuff because he is getting beat like a drum, which I don't see happening, that's when they'll probably say, all right, he's not ready yet, and they'll go to Cornelius Lucas. So as of right now, I think that he's going to have a legitimate shot to start at right tackle. Charles Leno Jr. still out because of the death of his grandmother. So, Cornelius Lucas was starting at left tackle. And we've seen other guys. William Jackson III didn't practice. He reportedly had a Charlie horse. We heard that from Ron, actually, had a Charlie horse. So he didn't practice yesterday. I think Matt Ioannidis didn't practice yesterday. They're still working him back. Kyle Allen didn't practice yesterday. Still working him back. So, still a number of guys. Obviously, Curtis Samuel still hasn't made his Washington debut yet at training camp. So a number of guys still trying to work their way back. But the competition is definitely live. And I can't wait till Thursday night against the New England Patriots to see what exactly these guys have in store for us moving forward. So let's get to the comment section. And I have one here from Door Gunner. And what I'll do is I'll skim the comment section for the Louie T Lives, find those, and we will proceed that way. But I got a super chat here from Door Gunner. Thank you for the super chat, Door Gunner. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Door Gunner writes, thoughts on a bad Giants O-line having 2 O-linemen retire? How do you think this affects our chances to win the division? I don't think that has a big impact on the division or the overall landscape of the NFC East, or even really the outcome of the Giants season. The guys that retired literally just got there. These weren't guys that they were counting on. These were guys that they just signed as free agents. And then they turned around and said, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and hang it up. Same with the linebacker, Todd Davis, that decided to retire. Veteran players that just signed on with the Giants. They got there, and I don't think the environment that was being fostered was one that they were willing to continue to try and extend their careers to be in. So I don't think it's going to hurt the Giants at all whatsoever. It's not, their offensive line isn't great, but those guys weren't going to make it significantly better, if at all better. So it's not a big deal. I did talk about it on the podcast. I was thinking about chopping it up. I've been really lazy this weekend, so don't know if I'm going to chop it up or not and put it out there as its own entity. But I don't think that's going to really impact the Giants' locker room or their offensive line one way or the other. And it's damn sure not going to impact the division at all. The Giants' offensive line, even if they have issues and woes, those guys weren't going to change the Giants' fortunes on their offensive line. So thank you for that super chat, Door Gunner. Got a super chat here from HK. Thank you for the super chat, HK. Greatly appreciate you. HK writes, how is Isaiah Wright looking? Is he returning kicks? So they have him fielding punts at this current juncture. He is a guy that they're giving reps to as a punt returner. He's been solid in camp. He has not been great, but he has continued to do the things that we've come accustomed to Isaiah Wright doing, which is being solid, not moving the needle much, but enough just to be relevant. Remember, last year, this time, we had nothing at receiver, so a guy like Isaiah Wright was tantalizing, because you were hoping just maybe one of these guys that, you know, were undrafted, or one of these young guys that we had no clue what they were capable of, would be able to step up and give us something, you know, similar to Steven Sims in 2019. You were hoping for one of those guys to be like that. And maybe Isaiah Wright was that guy. I told you I wasn't impressed with his tape from Temple. And I didn't think he was going to make the team. Remember, I was dismissive of Isaiah Wright. And he had some really good moments last year. But at the same time, I think he's very limited as an athlete. And I don't see a high ceiling for Isaiah Wright. And I wasn't impressed with him when he was back there on punts. As a matter of fact, I think he muffed one of the punts. I want to say it was against the Giants. He got back there, and I think he dropped a punt. I think he ended up recovering it, or we ended up recovering it. It wasn't a turnover, but needless to say, I'm not thoroughly impressed with him as a punt returner, and I'm not a big fan of his as a receiver. So he's been solid in camp. I don't think he is a guy that's going to make this football team. We're so deep at receiver. Ron has talked about just the depth of the receiver position and how tough it's going to be to crack the roster at that position. They may have to make a special exception at receiver and keep a seventh receiver, which is asinine if you ask me. I think the number needs to be 6. And if you got to roll with Danny Johnson as your punt returner, so be it. Keeping 7 receivers seems crazy, because if you do that, you're going to have to shave off a guy that probably needs to be on this football team at another position. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with receiver. I can't see Isaiah Wright being one of the 7 guys potentially, definitely not one of 6. If he makes this team, it'd be as a 7th receiver, similar to DeAndre Carter. It's hard for me to imagine him, or Steven Sims Jr. for that matter, making the football team as one of 6. But if they extend it out to 7 to add in a punt returner, that's when I think Isaiah Wright, Steven Sims, and DeAndre Carter all start to come into play as guys that could potentially make this football team. But if we're talking about 6 receivers, I just don't see how any of those guys beat out an AGG and or a Kelvin Harmon. So we'll see what happens. You know, it's going to be a really interesting dynamic there. And we've talked about it already, about the receiver position and just how stacked the receiver position is and how much depth they have, especially on the back end of the receiver position, and how it's going to be tough for them to make some of these decisions, but they're going to have to be made. Thank you for that super chat, HK. Let's get to some comments real quick. If you're out there, hit that like button. Do me a huge solid. Hit that like button. If you are watching this, really do appreciate you guys. Sub up to the LouieTeeNetwork for more great content. If you haven't already done so, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Just like today, we're impromptu on a Saturday. You got that notification bell on, you'll be notified and you'll know. You'll be able to jump on and chop it up with us live. And then hit the like button, most importantly, to help this channel continue to grow, help videos like this spread. So please, if you are out there, hit the like button. Got another super chat. This one is from Cooper Gorman. Thank you for the super chat, Cooper Gorman. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Cooper Gorman writes, "Sup, Lou? Sup, Cooper?" Says, "What are your thoughts on Jared Patterson potentially being a returner? Helps us only keep 6 receivers and might give him an edge over Barber." Oh, we got a guest. Look at that. So I will add that guest in here. What's going on?
That's Yo, what's up, man? Y'all can hear me okay? Everything good?
Can't hear you. Let me see if...
Hello? That me?
No, we still can't hear you.
Hold on.
Check your settings to see if you got your mic hooked up. So Cooper Gorman asked about Patterson potentially being a punt returner. That I'm not sure of. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't heard anything about him returning kicks in practice when they've been doing their special teams, when they've been doing their special teams drills and having those parts of practice. I haven't heard about him being with the returners fielding punts. So I don't. Oh, they could. Okay, that's on my end. They could hear you. I couldn't hear you. I have mine on mute. I have to have my monitor on mute. So that's probably why I couldn't hear you. So I'm sorry. Everybody else could hear you. I couldn't hear you because I'm on mute. So that's my bad. So you can come back. But then I won't be able to hear you. I'm gonna have to probably put my headphones in so that there won't be this echo, because I always mute it because you get the that reverb and the echo, and I don't want you guys to have to hear that. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to put my headphones in so that I can hear you. So if you come back, I'll be able to hear you a lot better. Anyway, so to answer your question, Cooper, I don't think Patterson right now is being looked at as a punt returner. When they go through special team sessions, I haven't heard him as one of the guys back on punt returns, fielding punts. Like I said, that list has been Isaiah Wright, DeAndre Carter, Steven Sims Jr. It's been what's the name of the 7th round receiver? Dax Milne has been back there returning punts, and Danny Johnson has been back there as well. So I don't think that they're going to give Jaret Patterson an opportunity to return punts. And honestly, I could be wrong. He doesn't seem like a guy that has a skill set that would lend itself to being a punt returner. I could be wrong about that, but we'll see. All right, let's try this again. My bad, Rich. Everybody can hear you, man. Let me put my headphones in. I don't have my headphones in, so that's probably why I couldn't hear you. Let me see if this helps with me being able to hear you. Let me see. Hold on. All right. Say something.
The podcast headphones.
Okay. Now I'm gonna unmute mine. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna do it on this device and see if that works. Here we go. And let's see. Hello? Can you? All right, say something.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I still can't hear you. All right. They can hear you. As long as they can hear you, that's good.
Yeah.
I got to figure out, because I still want to be able to have a conversation with you. And
yeah, because you could I know some other people that do stuff like this.
All right, let's see. Maybe if I put it in here and I turn this on, I might be able to hear you. Let me see. All right. Got it in there. All right, now let's see.
Actually, hold on real quick.
Turn this on. All right. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
All right. Say something.
Okay. Now, can you hear me? Because I want to mess around with my camera. So
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Now we up and rolling.
All right. So you were there last night?
Yeah, I was there. It was me and my dad.
Okay. So talk to me about the stadium. Talk to me about the environment, and talk to me about what you guys saw at practice.
Well, when I went there, we were just going there to have a good time. But first thing I noticed, the field, the turf was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful turf. It was like a rec league's turf. It was beautiful. They didn't have anything in the middle, so there was no logo there, nothing in the end zone. So it was like a blank field with just numbers and lines. So that was good, but it looked good. Like, it really, especially early on, if you were there when the sun was out, just looked good. And then there was a nice little breeze that my dad loved. It was good.
Okay, awesome. So talk to me about how many people were there. So it seemed like it was a lot more than I thought was going to be there. So were there a lot of people there?
Well, the maximum was 20,000. So the capacity and they sold out. So 20,000 people were there. Okay. Some people couldn't make it. So it was roughly probably about 18,500, something like that. Then there was people in the parking lot tailgating. Mm-hmm. So it was just a lot. And we saw some people tailgating. We saw this nice little Redskins car. That was nice. My dad loved that. They gave him a beer, gave me a water. It was a good time. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's what's up. So, all right. Another thing that we saw, you were there early.
Yeah, I got
So,
there about 5:40. It
so,
opened at 5:30.
so they had a little band or like a drum line or something on the field. I saw pictures of that. Did you see that?
No, I mean I was outside, because we went there alone, and then we met these people that would like parked right across from us. We were with them for at least 30 minutes. Then I had to
Mm,
run back and forth from the car because no bags, and we were trying to figure out what to take and what not to take.
mm.
We didn't get in the stadium till probably about 6:30, so
Okay.
I didn't see that.
Okay. So that's fine. All right. So talk to me about what you saw during practice. What was the thing that stood out to you the most?
There was just a lot of good plays. Uh, I took some notes on it. There was one play because I was sitting like I was supposed to be in the like up, but I went all the way down because why not? We just felt like going down, open
Mm,
seats. So we were right there near the O lineman, and then the defensive lineman came, and it was like Chase Young against Charles Leno, and Charles Leno he looked good.
mm,
I mean, he didn't dominate. Wasn't like Chase Young got pancaked. Chase Young was still driving them, but like Chase Young could have just easily got off and got the quarterback, but
mm.
he didn't. Charles Leno just had him.
Okay. So was that a one-on-one
Yeah,
or
that was
was
a 1-on-1.
okay? Um, what did you see when they were doing 11 on 11? What did you see anything there that stood out to you?
Yeah, I saw a lot of good plays. What I would say were who I would say were the MVPs. I guess you could say were uh, not shocking, but Gibby and Terry. Not
Mm,
nothing spectacular. What you expect, but
mm.
still needed to happen.
Yeah.
And Steven Montez, he had some good plays. He had this one electric run that didn't make the media, but it was a really nice run. Got the stadium going. He just like ran. They had to be at like the 30 or the 35, and he just ran it to like the 1 or the 2. It
Mm.
was a really good play. And JD had this nice run where he went to the end, where he took it to the house off like the 25. That was a good play.
I heard that was the last play of practice.
I think it was.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so what did the first team offense look like?
Well, Fitzpatrick was Fitzpatrick. And we know what that is.
So
Uh,
talk to me. Let me ask you about the interception that Juice got. I heard it was a miscommunication. Who was supposed to be the intended receiver?
they were that was when drills were still going on, so that wasn't a scrimmage. They were just
Huh.
that was just like drills. So they were on the other side of me. I'm watching the defensive line versus offensive line, while
Okay.
everyone else is watching that. So I didn't get to see that. I just
Okay.
saw
Gotcha.
I just saw Juice on the screen with everyone around him and him with the ball.
Okay. The defense was mobbing him or something.
Uh, no, but Jonathan Allen, I love Jonathan Allen. He had him a day. He didn't bull rush Wes Schweitzer, but he just got right past him and
Mhm.
just drove him back.
What about Sam Cosmi and Montez Sweat? I heard it was a really good rep for Montez, not so much for Sam Cosmi.
I wasn't the biggest fan of the Sam Cosmic pick. Still not. That just helped my case even more.
Mhm.
Montez just did Montez stuff. Nothing really there that you should be not expecting.
Mhm.
I just Samuel Cosby just doesn't tickle my fancy, to say the least.
We'll see. I think he's ultimately going to start, so it'll be interesting to see um, how he continues to progress. You expect him to get beat by Sweat and
One of the
Young,
best edge
yeah.
rushers in the league.
So that's not something that's gonna, drive me to think that he can't play in this league. I
Oh, no, no,
expect him
no.
to struggle
Especially
a little
not
bit.
in the first year of his career. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying coming out of the draft, didn't like
Mhm.
him. Still not the biggest fan, but I haven't seen him play in a game. So how much can I say?
I mean, I felt the same way about Juice. So I mean, we're gonna
No,
see.
I
I
I
still
feel the same way about Juice, De'Ami Brown, and that's pretty much it. Because I like when Kyle Smith was here, I liked every pick. These guys come in, and it took me. I had to get warm to the picks. With Kyle Smith, I was already warm to the picks. I already liked the guys. But with these guys, especially since I don't know their track record here, I don't know what they've done here because they haven't done anything here. I need to see it. I need to see what they could do.
absolutely. All right, so let's take some comments. Let's see, I think I got a couple more people that use the hashtag. Um, Here's one from my guy Hidden Rain, Pac-Man D3. Says, I'm intrigued by people talking about this McTire cornerback or whatever his name is. Brought him up. Um, that's a guy that has been making plays apparently in camp. Had another knockaway last night. And he's a guy that has caught the eye of Ron and the rest of the coaching staff. So I don't think he's going to make the team, but similar to what we saw last year with Jeremy Reeves, he may be one of those final cuts that Ron says, look, you continue to work the way you're working. And if we have an injury or two, you're going to be the guy that gets the call. So we'll see what happens with him. Did you have a chance to see Torrey McTire last night?
Not really. I mean, I know. I was talking to my dad about this. I know probably about there's probably what 90 players there. I know about 70 of them.
Yeah.
I heard a couple things about McTire during training camp, and you said he had one knockaway yesterday. But like I was on the other side of the field, I wasn't watching them, unless
Gotcha.
if it was a scrimmage, like the 11 on limit scrimmage where it's only them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh,
And
and
again,
another key note. This is
mhm.
very important. Cameron Cheeseman had two back-to-back bad snaps. And with Nick Sundberg, we're not used to that. So
Right.
I'm warning you now, there might be some slip-ups throughout the season, preseason maybe. But one just went way over Trustway's head, and the other one was like low, and Dustin Hopkins couldn't really get the footing right because it was a bad snap. Trustway couldn't do what he wanted to do. It just wasn't great.
I'm not surprised. I wasn't all that blown away with him at Michigan. And remember, he didn't play last year. And when he was playing, he had about 4 or 5 poor snaps in his career. So I'm not shocked by that. I hope they got this right. Hope they didn't make a mistake moving on um, from Nick Sundberg. But I didn't realize Sundberg was coming off of an injury and surgery and all of that stuff. So we'll see what Cameron Cheeseman does. But you telling me that doesn't surprise me at all because he did that at Michigan as well. So that's something to look out for. Y'all heard what he said. Got a comment here from DCJ. Says, yo, Lou, 2 quick questions. Are you concerned with WJ3 camp so far? It seems a little up and down. No, not at all. I don't even know what prompted you to say that.
He's just saying that because he wasn't there yesterday.
Well, he was out yesterday, but I think he's still talking more about, some of the clips you've seen with Terry beating him and things of that nature. Like, you can't take that stuff and run with it. It's these one-on-one situations are set up for the receiver to win. It's tough. So I don't really subscribe to WJ3 struggling or being up and down in camp. He's been solid. What you expect when the games start, that's when we can start to assess some of these guys and what they're doing and how we feel about them. And are we overhyping them or are these guys as advertised? So
Yeah, don't worry about him because even when in the clip you've seen, he got mossed by Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is 6'6", he's 6 foot. That's a 6-inch difference. And when he's been going against Terry, he's been playing good defense. Just Terry's a great receiver. That's nothing to knock. Just gotta love it.
Exactly. Also from DCJ, he says, do you think Washington football team may address running back around cuts time? In terms of what? Adding another running back, highly unlikely. They got three guys they like. They got Patterson, who they also like. Lamar Miller has been, performing well by, most standards. He's 30 though, so I don't really want to get too much, into that. But I don't see them adding any more running backs. We're not hurting at the running back position.
Personally, I want to keep 4. I know that's not likely, but we all know the 4 that we would want to keep if we could. And if we do keep 4, it's obvious who they are. But if it's only 3, personally, I would like Jerry Patterson, even though I just love the security blanket that is Peyton Barber.
Yeah, I told you
He
how
also
I
had a
feel
good day
about Barber.
yesterday. Peyton Barber, he had a good day yesterday.
He had a good day.
Yeah, and I think he switched his number to 25.
Yes, he did. He did. He changed the number to 25. A lot of guys changed their numbers because players aren't here that occupied those numbers last year, so you could make that switch. So he was able to do that. Got another comment from Juan Gotti talking sports. Says, I was there. Stadium was lit. Here's what happened. Taylor was expecting Cam Sims to run a go route. Cam ran a comeback, so Juice got the pick. Gotcha. So it definitely miscommunication is what it sounds like. He was looking for one thing, got another. And that's why this time of the year is so important. You want to iron out those kinks so that you don't have those mistakes when the game actually takes place. So we'll see if more time with these receivers and getting into these nuances of these communication stops these types of mistakes from happening. Thank you for that, Juan Gotti.
Oh yeah, I saw Juan's video. He has a Chase Young to Matha jersey. That's crazy. That probably looks sweet. I didn't see him in person, but I saw his video. He had a nice angle of the field too.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't catch that one. Take that. Says Terry smoked Kendall on that play, but Curl was the deep safety on that play. I don't think he belongs there. I'm not the biggest Cam Curl center fielder, free safety guy. I think he's more of a strong safety, closer to the line of scrimmage, big nickel, Buffalo nickel, as they like to call it, type of player. In college, he did play free safety. He played some corner. So it's not foreign to him, but it's not something that he does at an exceptional level. He's not a fast guy by any stretch of the imagination. I think he ran a 4.6 coming out of Arkansas. So I don't think he's a guy you want to be, your middle of the field safety, single high guy going red line to red line. That's just not who he is. Now, Ron has talked about his smarts and his ability to see it before it happens and then get there. But you can't, I don't think there's a way you can get around not having the kind of speed you need. Even if you see it early, if you don't have that real dynamic speed, it's hard for you to get there when the ball arrives. So I understand where you're coming from there. I think they're experimenting now to see what he can do. But at the end of the day, he's going to be playing more of that strong safety down towards the line of scrimmage, Buffalo nickel type of position defensively for this team. All right.
That's what I like Bobby McCain for. I know you like him more as a nickel. I like him as a free safety. I think that's why we signed him. That's why I like him best.
Well, they definitely signed him to be the free safety, but they love his ability to drop over the slot. As a free safety, a lot of times you drop over the nickel. You drop over that third receiver or the two, as they like to call it, and you cover that guy. So he's able to do that, and he's able to drop back, 30, 35 yards away from the line of scrimmage, be that single high free safety that can get from, red line to red line. So I think he'll provide us with that for sure. All right, so I think that's it. I don't see any more comments. And I want to thank my guy, Rich, for coming on. and blessing us with his presence. And really do appreciate you guys joining me on the program. It was a very productive practice. It was good to see the fans back out at FedEx Field. I think the players got their first dose, especially the ones who haven't been at FedEx Field before. This was their first opportunity to experience FedEx Field in all that it has to offer. And also their first time playing in front of fans, especially if you were a rookie last year, you didn't play in front of any fans. So I think everything kind of worked the way that they wanted it to. It was a beautiful day or night, evening. And I think they couldn't have had a better opening for FedEx Field this year with the new turf and the fans and all of that stuff. So I think I got a couple more comments. Let's see. Got one here from Juan Gotti talking sports. Says, and also Troy Apke looks good at cornerback. Not going to get fooled like last year, though, because remember Ron was hyping him up. I heard that he wasn't terrible. And I've heard beat reporters that are at practice every day say, Trap's not terrible. He's just got a long way to go. It's a new position, and he's got to learn the ins and outs of how to use his length and how to use some of the technique that they teach at the cornerback position. So it's a transition for him, but I think they like him. More importantly, they love him on special teams. So he's going to have a chance. So I'm not shocked to hear you say that Trap wasn't terrible. He was actually pretty good last night. Rich says, I also saw Troy Apke running with the ones at one point. It was a short yardage situation. Yeah, they want to continue to give him reps. They want Troy Apke to make this team. I keep telling y'all that. We're going to see if he actually can crack this roster, but they want to give him an opportunity to show what he can do as a corner so it can help them justify keeping him on the roster as a core special teams player. So we'll see what happens. In any event, that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. If you're out there and you've had a chance to subscribe, awesome. Make sure you turn on your notification bell. But if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button for more great content. And most importantly, hit the like button. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Remember, I am a Washington fan etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Washington football team. Till next time, I'll see you guys. Remember, giving away 2 tickets to each of the home preseason games. So Monday, I'll give you all the details on how you can get those tickets. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. In any event, enjoy the rest of your weekend. You know I will, and I'll see you on Monday. LouieTeeNetwork.